Okay.
So now let us begin with our first speaker, Sam.
So I'm breaking the ice here, right? Okay. Good evening. My name is Sam Rodriguez, and it's an honor and a pleasure not only to address all of you as parents and community members and stakeholders, but most importantly, after almost 4 months of campaigning, it's really a distinguished honor to be here on the panel with these great individuals and citizens who care deeply about education, who care deeply about our kids, who care deeply about governance. Each and every one of us is a leader. And then sometimes in our democracy, you kind of wish you could vote for everyone. You know, I kind of feel that way. And if we had writing candidates, I would vote for everyone on this platform because I've seen them firsthand and I know what's in their hearts, and they really care deeply about education and about in the direction where we're going. As far as my candidacy, I walked into this race in July for a couple of reasons. As a parent, as an older parent with a 7-year-old and second grader at Sherman Elementary School, I saw firsthand what budget cuts do. And I'll never forget the conversation I had with my daughter, who went and grabbed her garden science teacher when she found out that she was being laid off, and afterwards asked me, "Daddy, you know, will you promise me that no other teachers," and then she named her teachers, "will not get laid off?" And I made that promise to her, and I walked into this race. Being involved with the Parent Teachers Association has opened my eyes to parent engagement to a remarkable end. But most importantly, I am a science, math, and technology geek. I worked for Bill Clinton and for Governor Gray Davis in education workforce for over 20 years. I worked for Hewlett-Packard and for Comcast, and I truly, truly believe that if we're going to be a world-class education system, we need to integrate science and math and technology and arts from preschool to 5th grade, and I'm determined to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam Rodriguez. And now we'll hear from Paul Robertson.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Paul Robertson. First off, I want to thank Sam for his endorsement. Thank you, Sam. I endorse you as well. Anyway, my reason for running for Board of Education is I'm really concerned with some fiscal accountability. It seems like our district is always hurting for money, and we're always forcing our good teachers into taking pay cuts. I don't like seeing teachers getting forced to take furlough days, pay cuts. And if certain propositions don't pass this coming election, our teachers are going to have to take 8 pay cuts, I believe 8 furlough days this year and 8 next year. And to me, I think that's a slap in the face to all our hardworking teachers in San Francisco. I think a way to bring more money back to our schools is to have, make it easier for kids to get to school, have neighborhood schools. We lost 500 kids this year in a freshman class, 500 less freshmen enrolled than last year. That's a total of $2.5 million right there we lost. Also, we're losing a lot of money with truancy. As of now, there's average of 5,000 kids a day cut school. That costs the school district $125,000 a day, $18 million estimate in a year. Think about that, that's a lot of money. So I'm really concerned with that. The other thing is some choices for our students. I'd like to work on getting some kind of technical vocational school back into our school district. Get rid of the mandatory A to G requirements for all kids. We have A to G requirements already in place for those that want to take those courses. We can't expect all our kids to go to UC Berkeley. Some of them don't want to go, some of them, you know, I think that we just need to have more choices for our kids. And so those are some of the basic things I'm interested in. I have a lot more things that I'm interested in, but that's the tip of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Now we'll hear from Beverly Popek.
Hi, my name is Beverly Ho Popek, and I am a native San Franciscan. Born and raised here in San Francisco, I'm a graduate of the public schools here. I'm also a first-generation Chinese American. I know about the inequities and being an immigrant in the city and raising children and growing up here. I have 2 boys, and they both go to Jose Ortega Elementary School. It's a public school in our neighborhood, and we're quite proud. I've been very active there in fundraising, community building, as well as learning a lot about the district and how we as parents at the grassroots levels can make a difference. I'm also a teacher. I teach at Skyline College. I teach anthropology. That's a part-time position. It's my passion job. I wish I could do it full-time, but I have to earn a living, and I now work for the City and County of San Francisco full-time for the Human Rights Commission. In my capacity at the Human Rights Commission, I work with businesses every day. I know about government funding, contract compliance, and I understand how private-public partnerships works. With every time you build a Warrior Stadium or a seawall for the Giants, there is a public benefit. I want that public benefit to go to our San Francisco Unified School District so that our program can benefit from that. In addition, I have a nonprofit background. I know about granting and things that we can use throughout the city. I'm collaborative, pragmatic, and with my unique perspective of being an active public school parent, as well as being a teacher and a person who's worked in government and working in government, I want to bring that to the school board. Thank you.
Thank you, Beverly. Now we'll hear from Rachel Norton.
Good evening. I'm Rachel Norton. I'm running for re-election to the Board of Education. I'm a parent of 2 middle school students at Roosevelt Middle School, and one of my daughters has special needs. Since being elected to the board in 2008, I have focused first and foremost on increasing the achievement of all of our students. If you have paid attention to the headlines in recent weeks, you've seen that the district students on average are performing better than they have in a long, long time, if ever. Our API just reached 807, which is, well, it's not, 800 is the state's measurement for an acceptable progress of schools, and so 807 is a really important, for a large urban district like us to be at 807 is really an important psychological achievement. There are still a lot of our kids that are lagging behind, and particularly our students with disabilities, our African American students. But I've particularly focused on students with disabilities because my daughter has autism, and that has been that was a motivating force for me for running in the first place. We have done a sort of a top to bottom review of our special education programs in the district. We're not where we need to be, but things are improving, and I'm most proud of the fact that we now include students at every school in the district, and this wasn't the case 4 years ago when I first took office. I also have focused on transparency and really trying to communicate district decision making. I keep a blog at rachelnorton.com, and there are still a lot, troubles me that there's a lack of trust out there in the community for the district, and so I really have dedicated myself to trying to communicate what we're doing at the board level, how could we do things better, and engaging in two-way communication with constituents. Thanks for coming tonight, and I look forward to engaging in debate.
Thank you, Rachel. Now we'll hear from Jill Wynns.
Good evening. I'm Jill Wynns. I've been on the San Francisco Board of Education for 20 years. This year, I'm also privileged, although apparently not to be able to use this microphone, but to be the president of the California School Boards Association. So I am the spokesperson and representative of more than 950 school districts and over 5,000 school board members in the state. In that capacity, most recently, we've taken leadership in being the main voice for yes and yes on the 2 net tax initiatives, Prop 30 and Prop 38. I've been in the last couple of weeks on a media tour with State Superintendent Tom Torlakson. He also has taken a yes and yes position, and I'm happy to announce that we, with Carol Kosovar, the president of the state PTA, were able to broker a deal to stop some of the negative TV ads that we have seen on TV, and we think that will make a big difference. Thank you. No, it's this. I came to the board as a parent activist. I was a public school parent in San Francisco for 22 years. And I'll tell you something about my priorities. I say that my first priority is money, money, and money, because we cannot do any of the things that everyone here and all of you want us to do without more adequate funding. My statewide position gives me the opportunity to play in that arena and to influence it, and I think it's a big asset to our city and to our school district. Locally, I've been in the leadership with many of you of 12 local school funding measures since 1988 that have raised $2.5 billion of local money for our schools. At the state level, I have played a role in making the governor's budget proposals far better than they were when they first came out. That has avoided in San Francisco some $37 million of cuts annually. And those are the things that I'm going to continue to do. In addition to that, I'm committed to all of the equity-based instructional strategies that we have, including the zone schools and other things. And last, I am a proponent of the Community Schools Initiative and serving the social service needs of our children and families. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. Now we'll hear from Sam Rodriguez.
You did.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Oh, looking at the wrong list. Okay, excuse me. Now we'll hear from Matt Haney.
You're jumping around. Okay.
Thanks.
All right, well, good evening. Thank you to all the organizations who put this event together, and to Christine and Masharika for moderating and introducing. I'm Matt Haney, and it's an honor to be here with you all. So I'm running for the Board of Education because I think everyone in this room, and certainly everyone on this stage, agree that the most essential and critical challenge that we face as a community is making sure that every single one of our young people have access to a high-quality education that allows them to fulfill their potential and live out their dreams. And here in San Francisco, we should be able to do that right. If there's one place where we can get it right, it should be in one of the wealthiest, one of the most progressive cities in the entire world. And as we know, even here in San Francisco, despite much of the progress that we've had, we're still leaving too many of our kids behind. When teachers have to dig in their own pocket to pay for supplies, when we have one of the largest racial achievement gaps in the state, we can do better. And I think that's why all of us are running, and I echo Sam's sentiment about the outstanding leaders who are up here on this stage who are all committed to that challenge. I'm somebody who has benefited tremendously from public education. Like everyone up here, it's very personal for me. I was raised in a single-parent middle-class family here in the Bay Area. I went to public schools because of public schools, and of course, the love of my mother and my family. I was able to go to UC Berkeley and Stanford School of Education and Stanford Law School. And over most of the past 10 years, I've been part of the fight to make sure that those opportunities that I've had are available to the next generation. I'm currently the executive director of the UC Student Association. I work every day with students. I work with them to organize, to defend public education. I know what they're going through. I know what the attack on public education in this state and in our city looks like. I started an organization called Citizen Hope, spent a tremendous amount of time in our schools. I served on the Public Education Enrichment Fund, Community Advisory Committee, and I really think that the skills that I bring as a student advocate, as a policy analyst, as someone who has experience both here and beyond San Francisco, I think I can bring the leadership that our schools need. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. And finally, we'll hear from Kim Garcia Meza. Have I missed you, Shamann? I missed you. I'm sorry. So, please forgive me. We were expecting 11, and I mixed and matched, and now okay, so who have I've gotten out of order, haven't I? So we've heard from Sam, we've heard from Paul, we've heard from Beverly and Rachel, we've heard from Jill, I see, and we've heard from Matt. Okay, so we need to hear from Shamann and Sandra and Kim, correct?
Right.
Okay, and I just went out of the order that I told you in the first place. You must be very surprised. Sandra, let's hear from you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm Sandra Fewer, and running for re-election to the San Francisco Board of Education. I am a fourth-generation San Franciscan Chinese American. 4 generations of my family have attended San Francisco public schools, including myself, my husband, my 3 children. I've been a PTA president for 12 terms. I've served 4 years on the San Francisco PTA and 4 years on the PEEF committee. I've done a lot of volunteer work in this district. I'd like to say that I probably am the carnival queen. I've raised probably hundreds of thousands of dollars as a PTA participant. But since 2001, from 2001 to 2009, I worked for Coleman Advocates for Children and Youth. And I was the director of parent organizing and education policy there. And while I was there, I spoke to an average of 500 parents a year, training them on parent rights in the schools. I also helped to craft the first ever education equity platform for San Francisco public schools and helped to author the resolution to create a parent advisory council to the San Francisco Board of Education, now in its 8th year. While on the board, I am particularly proud of a couple of resolutions that I've authored or co-authored. One of them is to have restorative practices in our schools. That has resulted in 500 less suspensions a year. That is a less punitive way of disciplining our students and bringing a much more restorative approach. It has actually transformed our district in the way we do discipline. Also, I authored a resolution to have ethnic studies in our high schools. 90% of our students are students of color. 5 of our high schools now offer that A through G college eligible class. I also authored a resolution to recommit to the anti-discrimination of our LGBTQ youth. This is very personal. My son came out right before high school and had a very difficult time. And then I authored a resolution to create a parent engagement plan district-wide that brings us from a dependency model to one of empowerment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sandra. All right, Shamann, you ready? No, it's totally your turn.
Good evening. My name is Sherman Walton, candidate for San Francisco Board of Education. The reason I'm running for Board of Education is because I want every child in San Francisco to have an opportunity for success. And I believe that San Francisco Unified School District is that vehicle for success, and that we owe our students a quality public education. I'm running on 3 major priorities. One is increasing the revenue for the district. The federal government spends millions of dollars on vocational programs through the Department of Labor, Department of Transportation, EPA. We need to leverage those dollars and bring more vocation programs and more school-to-career opportunities back into our schools in San Francisco. Work closer with the mayor of the Board of Supervisors to bring development project revenue into our schools and educate our students. Billions of dollars in development coming to San Francisco, sewer system improvement project, California Pacific Medical Center, Possible Warriors Arena. Development project revenue needs to go towards the funding of the education of our students. Secondly, we want to decrease the achievement gap for our Latino, African American, Pacific Islander, children with special needs, English language learner children. And the way you do that, to decrease the achievement gap, you have to increase motivation, you have to increase innovation. We need more immersion programs, more accelerated English programs, more opportunities for learning for our students so that they have the opportunity to understand how their learning today relates to their future success. That's how you address the achievement gap. Third, we want to create an after high school going culture so that every student, once they enter a preschool, elementary school, middle school, high school, understand that they have an opportunity for success. And if they're not getting that exposure at home, we owe it to them at the district level. A little bit about myself. I'm the Executive Director of Young Community Developers. I've raised millions of dollars leveraging the very resources that I've talked about in my platform. I'm passionate and work in the schools currently, consistently, and I have the opportunity, of course, to work and serve on several committees that allow me the opportunity to provide services in the schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Shamann. And now Kim Garcia Mesa.
Good evening. My name is Kim Garcia Mesa, and I'm running for Board of Education. I'm running for Board of Education because as a teacher and a parent in San Francisco, I want to help make sure that we are providing the best education for all of the children in our city. 22 years ago, I came to San Francisco after graduating from Stanford University to become an elementary school teacher in the Mission District. I am the daughter of immigrant working class parents, my mom from Mexico and my dad from Japan. They did not go to college, but they made sure that all 3 of their children did. So I am very proud that myself and my 2 siblings are graduates from college, and wanted to make sure that I went back to our communities and gave the families the same support that my parents needed to make sure that we got the education that they wanted for us. Like I said, I've worked in San Francisco Unified as a Mission District teacher for over a decade, and so I know firsthand what it's like to work in an under-resourced school. I know what it's like firsthand to be given a ream of paper a month and be told, got to work with that. I know what it's like to work in a community of families who are struggling economically, struggling in their social community lives, but really want to make sure that their children are getting the best education. I know what it's like to work in those schools. I also know what it's like to be a parent in the public schools. 11 years ago, we started our family, and I not only became a parent, I became a strong advocate for early literacy development. 6 years ago, I started my own Spanish language preschool. And for the past 11 years, I've been a strong advocate for parents and families and children in our public school systems. I believe that my unique experience as both a teacher in the public school and parent in public and independent school uniquely qualify me to bring a very needed perspective to the Board of Education.
Thank you. So I want to thank all the candidates for their very informative opening statements and for dealing the curveball I threw at them by offering them one order and then changing it on the fly. Apologize about that. That won't happen again. So we're going to move on now to the final section of the evening, which is closing statements from the candidates. So each will have 30 seconds to offer their final thoughts, their parting thoughts to you. And we're going to start the furthest end of the table, so Paul will get to go first. And then we'll move down the table and finish with Jill. So your closing parting thoughts in 30 seconds. Paul, you get to start.
Hi. Well, I'd like to get your vote. I think that I would work hard at the San Francisco Unified School District. I have experience there. I've worked in every middle school and every high school in the district. I know every school. I know how hard teachers are working, how hard teachers work, and how to support the teachers. I would support the teachers and the principals all the way up to the school board. They could call me on my own cell phone if they have problems and talk about it, and I'd help them out. I know many teachers, and I would work hard to get things done.
Beverly.
Hi, I would love to have your vote. As a public school parent who has 2 kids right now in school, I really live and dream and work it every day, from homework to getting them off to school to just being there, perhaps on the weekends, and thinking about other things, how to make the school better. I would like to bring my perspective, my background, my expertise from my various work experience, being an educator in the nonprofit world, as well as my civil servants' employment to the school board. Thank you.
Thank you. Sandra.
Yes, thank you. I just want everybody to know that I take my responsibility as a school board member very seriously. The day I was sworn in, I quit my job at Coleman Advocates, and this is what I do full-time. And I take it very, very seriously. I attend all meetings. I take all votes, even the hard ones. I have a lot of invested here. You know, I have my children that graduated from San Francisco Unified, but really it's about all those children that are behind them. I believe public education is the foundation for our democracy. It is the most profound thing that we can give to our students so they can be productive in the 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Just thank again the organizations that put this event together, and thank all of you for coming. You know, I think that one of the most important roles of a school board member is to be out there listening to folks in the community, and especially to parents and to students. And so I hope that, you know, there's a couple weeks left in this campaign, but I hope to be able to talk and meet many of you and to hear from you, because everyone has a different experience in the district, and it's bringing those experiences together and giving voice to them on the board and giving voice to them in the work that we do as a district. I think that is going to make us successful. Another thing I'd say is we need to get resources, and you should look to your board to do that, because that's how we're going to be able to continue many of the things that we're doing well. Thank you.
Thank you. Rachel.
Serving on this board has been the hardest job I've ever done for the least amount of money. But it's been a privilege. And, you know, I see my husband in the front row, and it has not been such a privilege for him. But for me, it really has been a privilege. And I have been a very hardworking, a very responsive commissioner, and I would very, very much like the privilege of serving again for another term. Thank you.
Thank you. Sam.
Having the honor of having a second grader girl at a public school in San Francisco opens up your eyes, no matter what age you are. And one of the things that you'll see in me is a complete commitment to collaborate as a team, to work as a team with all of our stakeholders, the board and the city, and particularly the business community. But make no doubt, I am fixed in building a science, technology, and arts curriculum from preschool to 5th grade, because I believe that San Francisco can be the model of the entire state. Thank you.
Thank you. Kim.
Thank you so much for coming out and taking time to listen to us and ask such important questions. I believe that a fundamental role of a Board of Education commissioner is to hold the district accountable. And I have done that as a veteran teacher of San Francisco Unified School District for teacher rights. I have also done that for the past 7 years as a parent in one of our superintendent's own schools. I believe that it is time that we have teacher voice on the Board of Education, and it is also time that we have parent voice from our superintendent zones.
Shamann.
I also want to thank everyone who put this forum together for the opportunity. I often tell my children, as well as children that I talk to on a consistent basis, that don't judge me by the work that I get paid to do on a daily basis, but judge me by what I do when I'm off the clock. And having the opportunity to advocate, work for our students, and to make sure they're connected to the success that they deserve is something that I have true passion for and am just tremendously excited about, even the opportunity to be running for the Board of Education. Thank you.
Jill.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming and for the sponsoring organizations and my fellow candidates. I want to tell you that I am asking for your vote and for your support so that I may continue to provide leadership for the schools in our city, in our state, and in our nation. I'm proud to be endorsed and supported by a broad range of people, from the state superintendent to all elected officials up and down the spectrum in San Francisco and around the state, and also by the Bay Guardian, the San Francisco Examiner, and others, the Democratic Party, and I'd be very proud to have your support too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So before we conclude this evening, I just want to remind us all of something that I failed to mention at the top, which is that there are 7 commissioners on the Board of Education, and there are 4 positions which are up for election this year. So your votes are very, very important. So thank you to our co-hosts, and most of all to our candidates for being here and for sharing your priorities and your great ideas and your time with us. Good luck to all of you, and please make sure that your voice is heard at the polls on November 6th by voting for the Board of Education.